Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. Bit delayed this time, unfortunately. Cam was traveling, very busy. So thanks again for the time, Cam. I know you're really busy. How's things in Georgia?
Doing good. Weather's good. Everything's good. Spurs are still
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah. There's some things which are constant in life, and Spurs being crap is one of them. So that's at
Yeah.
least that's a good thing. So let me ask you a quick question. Let's talk about a few things. Firstly, let's talk about the performance against Brentford. What did you think about the performance against Brentford? What's your thoughts on that?
I thought there was no surprises. Absolutely everything that you expected happened. Lackluster second half. First half, we get one good goal because Kane produces a super strike from which you wonder why he hasn't done it before like that. But and huffed and puffed a bit, and then exactly what was to be expected in the second half. We were so overrun and outplayed completely by a team that we should be beating day in day out.
Now, that's a good question, actually. Should we actually be beating Brentford because they got better players than us, or have we got better players?
I think the time when Tottenham are having to compare themselves to a team like Brentford, given our resources, given the size of our stadium, given our fan base, given all the investment that's gone in, then it probably you've just nailed it about what the problem is with this team. Right, we are now trying to stand up and compete with the likes of Brentford, with the likes of Brighton. What is going to be next season, competing with the likes of what Southampton were this year, or Everton if they survive. I mean, who
Yeah,
are we
yeah.
comparing ourselves to? Those days when we used to think about top four, top six, they're out of the window, aren't they? So, yeah, we are. I suppose you're right. Brentford are better than us.
Yeah. I just let me
They
talk to you
took
about
4
Ryan
points of
Mason.
us this season.
Yeah, yeah. Ryan Mason said that Clement Longley is one of the players that we need to sign. He's one of the leaders. We should be signing this player. And Longley and Davis, that Mbuemo, just roasted them in the second half. So if your manager is saying something like Longley is a good player, we're in big problems, aren't we? If the manager thinks this guy's a good player, this is the whole issue, isn't it?
Well, I think the manager thinks this guy's a good player because he looks at what's behind him. He looks at what's on the bench. He looks at what other options he has, and compared to them, Longley is probably a superstar. That is what the issue is. Is who are you comparing this to? Yeah, I mean, Mbeumo earlier in the season needed about 10 chances to score a goal. Now he comes to Spurs and he finds his complete form, doesn't he? I mean, it's a typical Tottenham, isn't it? Let's make players better. Let's make our players worse.
Yeah, Doctor Tottenham, Doctor. Let's move on from the game because it's pretty immaterial. I mean, I don't personally want to talk about it, but there's a few things I want to talk to you about. Now, let's talk about Arne Slot, the Feyenoord manager. All the hype yesterday was Slot's going to be the new manager. He's negotiating his deal with Feyenoord. He's going to come to Tottenham. We've agreed it, blah, blah, blah. And then today, reality check again, as usual. Apparently, Slot was never going to join. He was just using us as a bargaining chip to get more money out of Feyenoord. And I agree. Why would you give up Champions League football and winning the Eredivisie and come and play for this shower of a club? So, again, Arne Slot is one of the up and coming managers. It looks like he's turned down Tottenham. What's your thoughts on that, Cam?
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, my thoughts are that I would have said some time ago when we were looking to replace Conte, I would have said Arne Slot, what is in effect from a third-rate division that he wins, right, which has probably got about 2 teams in it, is probably not good enough for Tottenham.
Yeah.
And it shows to you. I would have said to you, Arne Slot, no, I don't want Arne bloody Slot. I want somebody who's a proven winner in a league that matters. And
So
if you're going to tell me that they're
what league matters for you then, Cam?
well, maybe potentially the Spanish league, even the Portuguese league, even the Italian league, and the German league, and obviously the Premier League. All the others to me are second rate. And having said that, probably the Portuguese league is probably a bit second rate too. But my view is we can't even get. It's like you telling to me that a manager who just won Division 3 thinks he's too good for Spurs. That is the state that we're in, because that's Arne Slot to me. Sorry, it's a third. He probably his team may have made it in the championship here. Probably might get promoted from Division 2, but it's just to me he's just won Division 2 in comparison to what he's won in Holland, and he won't even come to Spurs. That tells you the state that this club is in, really more than it tells you to me about Arne bloody Slot.
And
Agreed.
also the fact that, yeah, I mean, the fact that, all right, he's a good manager. Let's not give him, he's got a good manager. He's won the Eredivisie. You may not like it, but Feyenoord took away a lot of his best players. He rebuilt the team. They won them. So, yeah, kudos. He's won something. But is he really the caliber of manager? This is what I think we're getting lost here. We say we're going Nagelsmann, Enrique, and we're not in that league anymore, Cam. no Champions League football. We got a below average team. Why are some of these elite managers going to come here? So I think your view that Arne Slot, we're too good for him, I think that's wrong. We are about the right level for somebody like Arne Slot.
Obviously, we're not, because he doesn't even want to come here.
He doesn't.
So
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
actually
yeah,
below
yeah,
that level
yeah,
now, aren't we? Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we're not at Arne Slot's level. We're
yeah,
at where we are right now is Brendan Rodgers, we're Ryan Mason,
yep.
and let's put a few more names in there. Who else could we put in there? Some of the has maybe Roy Hodgson type managers. This is where we're at. This is where we are at. Else is out there? I mean, do you really now care who the manager's going to be? I mean, really? I mean, who gives a crap now what the manager's going to be? What are
Yeah.
they going to be able to do? I mean, you might as well just give it, like I said from the beginning, to Daniel Levy. Let him run around in jogging bottoms and start taking team training, because the difference it will make absolutely zero. I see Spurs next season looking at relegation fodder, because this division is too good. It's not. There's nobody's too good to go down. And it's proven that if you play well and you fight and you struggle in this division, you can achieve anything. Look at Brighton, look at Brentford, look at some of those clubs that have gone up there. Villa, look how they're doing. Anybody can do it. However, we have no right to stay up. And I believe that we will be in serious trouble next year.
So who is going to be our manager? Who's your smart money on then? Is it Brendan Rodgers or Graham Potter? One of these guys? Who's going to be the manager? Because nobody
Sam
wants to come.
Allardyce. Sam
Sam Allardyce.
Allardyce.
Yeah.
That's
But
what we're worth. Sam
Cam.
Allardyce to help us out of relegation.
So, joking aside, you said Sam Allardyce. Obviously, Sam's not going to be our manager. If you were to say on August the 6th or 8th, or whenever the season starts, who is going to be, will we have a new manager in place? And if so, who is it going to be?
Okay. So let's go back to last season.
Yeah.
The season before. I mean, I can't believe it's been that time. But when we got Nuno Espirito Santos, right, 76 days without a manager. You've already said yesterday was 60. That's 61. 2 more weeks to go. That'll be the longest period without a manager, without a permanent manager. And what did we end up doing? We ended up completely fluffing it, going for whoever we could. Panic. Right, and we ended up with Nuno. Now we all know what happened there. So why do you think this is going to be any different, Ray? This is another Nuno waiting to happen. There is no manager out there. There's no magic wand. As you've said, anyone with half a brain is not going to come to Tottenham. It's basically they put on their CV now, anywhere but Tottenham. Anywhere but Tottenham. Do you blame them?
No, I don't blame them at all. I totally, and I think the biggest reason, and I don't want to keep going on and on about this, is Daniel Levy. Nobody wants to work with the guy. Even Conte, Mourinho. I don't know if you saw Mourinho's comments. We'll talk about that as well, where he said Levy didn't let him win a trophy. Fired him, etc. He is the biggest obstacle. I reckon if this guy was to leave, then there'd be managers who wouldn't want to come to a club with one of the best stadiums in the world, the best training facilities in the world, one of the best strikers in the world there. Why wouldn't you want to come? The only reason is Daniel Levy. I mean, why would Arne Slot, with all due respect, has got a chance to come of one of the best teams in England in the Premier League? Why would he turn that down? He's probably getting paid lots more money than a Feyenoord. He's probably reached his ceiling at Feyenoord. What's he going to do now? He's won the Eredivisie. They're not going to win the Champions League. So he's probably reached his ceiling there. Why wouldn't you move to the Premier League and test yourself? It's got to be Daniel Levy, isn't it? You cannot want to work with this guy because of what everybody said about him.
Yes, and I think there's one other factor at play here. This was a transitional season for many clubs, not just for Tottenham, but for Chelsea, for Liverpool, for a number of other clubs that are up and coming, that are moving around, right? The top 4 next season is going to probably... Then you've got, obviously, Newcastle, another club in transition, right? Yeah. Every club is building for something. Chelsea's probably worst season they've had in God knows how many years.
Yeah,
you could see they are building, right?
They've got. They won't get any worse. They'll only get better when Poch joins.
Poch joins,
but they've got a plan. This is a club with a plan, at least, right? At Liverpool, they know they need to rebuild. They're beginning to rebuild. They're already 5th. They're going to get in there. They've started that whole process. They've got a plan. Newcastle have got a plan. They're going to throw money. They're going to do things. Manchester United have already got 4 or 5 signings that they want lined up. They've got a plan. What have Tottenham got? What is the one club out of all of these alleged top clubs, right, that hasn't got a clue, which is wandering around in the wilderness with absolutely no idea, no manager, no players that we've got any interest in, nothing? It's the one club. Who the hell would want to join that? Every other club has a plan. This club has only got one plan, and that is how to avoid relegation next season.
Yep. No, I understand that. I'm totally in agreement with that. I mean, this is all, I don't want to use bad language, but it's bottom about face, because basically Nagelsmann said, who's going to direct football? I want to know what the strategy is, who's director of football. Oh, we don't have a director of football. Nagelsmann, I'm not going to join. How can you put the cart before the horse? You've got to appoint a director of football who's then going to appoint the manager, or help at least be part of the process of selecting the manager. We're trying to select the manager and then bring the director of football in. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous.
I mean, you could argue forever about the role of a director of football. For me, I like the old traditional role where the manager was the director of football and run everything and had coaches working for them and had full control over the who they sign, who they don't sign. And I think that is where Tottenham have gone astray, in my view, very much so. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, but what we have got is zero structure, zero understanding, and we lost our head recruiter as well. We have no one in recruitment. We have no idea who we want to sign. Do we want to sign? We don't know how much money we've got. We don't know who's going to stay, who's going to go. We've got loads of players out on loan. We don't know what's happening with them. Every time they leave the club, they end up playing better than they do when they get back to the club. It's a complete mess. A complete mess. I mean, if this was any other business, it would be closed down. The only reason why Spurs is surviving and is doing everything else, because now Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is bigger than Tottenham Hotspur's team. It's all about the stadium. It's all about generating income from other activities and from everything else that they can do. And the team is now secondary. So I think Spurs fans need to accept that we come second to Levy's iconic little beast, which is the stadium itself. And no one gives a crap about the team.
No, but Levy's a clever man. He went to Cambridge. He's got a degree. He's a chartered accountant. He's not stupid. There must be explain to me. There must be some method to this madness, Cam. How can such a clever guy not realize what a mess the club is in?
Because the club's not as important as the stadium. It's about making money. What is the bottom
about
line?
making money, So he's making money with the Beyonce concerts and all that. He doesn't really care about anything
else that is coming, everything else that he wants to do. And he can see that actually, you know what, I can make the stadium into something bigger than the club. And that is not why we wanted a new stadium. That is not why we built a stadium. We built a stadium to bring glory to the team, not the other way around. And I think this is what it's all about. The club has now become secondary to the stadium. And this is all what it's about.
I think you're absolutely right, because look at this. It doesn't matter if we're playing rubbish or whatever. Look, we're playing really appalling. We're 8th now. Still 62,000 whatever was full. So Levy's happy. There's pictures outside about them drinking, buying stuff from the shops and all that stuff. So he's making his money. He's got Beyonce coming there. He's getting all this revenue, and the team is playing rubbish. So what incentive is there for him to make the team better? There is no incentive, is there? He's going to get the money anyway.
Absolutely. He's getting all the money that they want. And this is the thing about it. And I think that until the fans start doing I don't know what we can do, because, I mean, we are now a business that is not football focused, it seems. We're focused on everything else but the real football.
Yeah, it's all about fan experience.
We haven't had a manager for 2 months. We have Ryan Mason, who's probably going to get the job full time because no one else wants it. No one else cares. We're going to have a team which is going to be second rate because Kane's going to leave. And the only thing that we're going to look forward to is some players coming back. We'll have 1 or 2 players like we've always had that have been pretty good. And we're back now to the 90s, back to the 80s, when we were always mid-table, weren't we? Always mid-table. What did we actually ever achieve before then? We had a few years of delusions of grandeur where we thought we were a top 4 team, where we thought we were a Champions League team. That's all gone. We're not even a playing Europe team. We're not even a European Conference League team. So that's all gone. So I think we now are going to be just a mid-table team that most people in the top 4 will constantly beat. So Arsenal will always get 6 points from Spurs. Manchester United will always get 6 points from Spurs. Remember those years? City will do. So will Newcastle. And we'll pick up we'll beat a few of the lower teams.
Remember, there was a few years ago,
relegated.
There was a stat that we'd only beaten the top 4 team 1 in 63 games or something. I can't remember what it was. It was a stat. Do you remember?
And we're back to that now. I think we're going straight back to that scenario. The only thing we'll have it to look forward to in the season is going to be, can we beat Arsenal at home? That's about it.
Yeah, and we're going to end up getting something like Brendan Rodgers or Graham Potter, yes man, who's going to do what Levy says. I don't know how he can get away with it, Cam. Don't the fans?
Well,
what's wrong with these fans? Don't they see what the hell's going on?
Well, they do, but I mean, you made a really good point there about Brendan Rodgers and Graham Potter. Both of these managers, when they were successful, rejected Spurs. They
I
both
know.
said they do not want to come to Tottenham.
Well,
Right?
exactly.
If they do come, it's because they become rejects themselves.
Yeah.
The only people we can get rejects, two rejects, will
So
leave.
the rejected club can only get reject managers.
That's right. The same managers that rejected the club. The same
Yeah.
managers that said, "No, I'm not coming to Spurs. I'm not interested. I will never go to Spurs." Look at Potter. Every time he was at Brighton, he was mentioned with Tottenham. He made it clear he wouldn't. As did Brendan Rodgers on many occasions. And now these are the people that we're desperate for. That just shows the state of affairs, doesn't it?
Would you take Roberto De Zerbi?
I would take Roberto De Zerbi. Roberto De Zerbi would not take us. Why would he?
Yeah,
He's made it
exactly.
very
But
clear. He's staying another year. He's got a project to see through, and there was he's in Europe. What's he going to get at Tottenham?
no, he's not going to get anything. He's not going to get money to spend. And if Kane leaves, he's not going to be able to work with elite players. Why is
He's
he going to
also
come?
going to get the players that don't want to play football, that are coasters. What he did is take hungry players and make them hungry and make them successful. Turn £2 million players into £100 million players. Right? He's got himself a young Irish striker, Ferguson, who's now the next £100 million striker coming forward. Right, next to nothing. The midfielders that they've got, and McAllister and Caicedo. I mean, who name me one of those players that is comparable at Spurs?
I think if Roberto De Zerbi was thinking of coming to Tottenham, he needs to go and see a psychiatrist or something like that, get his head checked, because he must be going mad.
To be honest with you,
Let's wrap it up now, Cam. I know you haven't got much time. What about in terms of the final day of the season? We got a nothing match for us, but potentially for your second team, Leeds United, could be a really important one. What do you think is going to happen in the last day of the season in terms of relegation? It's either Everton, it's a two from Everton, Leicester, and Leeds are going to go down. What do you think is going to happen? I think we're going to lose to. Before you say anything, I think we're going to lose to Leeds anyway, because there's no way we're going to do anything against Leeds.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be. My view is probably Leicester and Leeds will go down, and Everton just might survive. That's my view. Simply because assuming that Leicester won't win, but the other two do win, Everton already got the position.
Yeah.
Will we beat Leeds? Do we really care? I mean, does anyone at Spurs really care? What difference does it make? I mean, if we did beat Leeds and Villa didn't win, we might make the Conference League. Do we want to be in the Conference League?
No, we
Let's
need
hope
to
we
leave.
lose then.
I think we've got to lose. We've got to lose. Conference League is going to be the final nail in the coffin, I think. Absolutely. That's going to put any other manager is going to put them off. Go, like you said, to these half-track places around Europe to play. Anyway, Cam, thanks again for your time. It's really good. Again, if you like the content, please give us a like, a subscribe. Please share this with all your other videos. We'll be seeing more of Cam. Are we going to see you during the off-season or not, Cam? Or are you going to go into hibernation?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a lot to talk about, especially, unfortunately, it'd be nice one day to be able to sit here and say some nice things about Tottenham. Yeah. I don't think I can see that in the near future. Can you?
No, I can't see it happening. So we keep an eye on this space and we'll see what's happening at Spurs. But in the interim, we say, come on, you Spurs. And good luck for Sunday.
God knows where to, but come on.
Come on, you. We'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.